Did you know you could go to jail just for hosting a website? Stick around and we'll dive into the story of Ross Ulbricht. I caught up with Ross's mother at the Porcupine Freedom Festival in Lancaster, New Hampshire. But before I dive into that interview, let me give you a little primer about what's going on. I have to let you know I'm pretty biased about all this because if you care about liberty and freedom, the ruling on this case is outrageous and pretty horrible, actually. Although this story has been well covered and been out for a few years now, you have to realize that there's a lot of people out there that still don't know anything about this case or are unaware that it's still going on. I feel that Ross's mom's probably the best person you can talk to explain what happened.
Hi, I'm Lyn Ulbricht, and my son is Ross Ulbricht. He was sentenced back in last May, a year ago, approximately, for all nonviolent charges to a life sentence without parole for his alleged role in the Silk Road website, which was an open market on the internet that where people sold and bought legal but also illegal items, mostly drugs. And Ross has pled not guilty and is appealing the conviction based on violations at trial. It was a very unfair trial, as well as evidence that there was corruption in the investigation that was not allowed to be known by the jury. So right now he's appealing the decision and the conviction, and on for many reasons, but that's one of the big ones, is that the evidence is tainted by the fact that corrupt agents had freewheeling access to the site and the evidence for many months. So when Ross was never someone that was in trouble, he was not into drugs. He's a peaceful libertarian who was involved in the Ron Paul campaign and believed in free markets. So when he was arrested, we were very shocked and devastated, really. And he was brought to New York, even though he was arrested in San Francisco, and he's been in prison there ever since. We decided, my husband and I, to uproot and move to the New York area so that we could be near him and his lawyers and visit him, because it's very important that prisoners have visitors. Ross is completely cut off. He is not permitted email or internet, and visits are very limited, but at least he can see family and friends. For the past 2.5 years, I've been very, very devoted and committed to helping Ross because I believe in my son. I know that he's a peaceful person and would never purposely harm anyone. I've spent a tremendous amount of time fundraising because trying to fight the federal government is crushingly expensive. And we're not a rich family. We're a regular family, and it's almost impossible for citizens in the United States to pursue justice and not be destroyed financially. So we've worked hard at raising funds on our website, freeross.org, as well as raising awareness. Because what's happened to me in this whole process, and I had my eyes opened to how the government operates when they prosecute someone and try someone, and frankly, I was extremely shocked at the unfairness, at the, well, I mentioned that there was corrupt agents who are now in prison who were involved in the investigation, but in addition, the trial itself did not permit the defense to properly cross-examine, to bring witnesses in my son's favor, and as far as I could see, it was a totally one-sided situation where the jury was not allowed to hear a lot of very important information. So what I've learned through this experience is that the justice system is not necessarily about justice, and that it's stacked against the citizen, especially if you go to trial. And I had faith in the system. I thought that we had a land of fair trials, due process, and the concept of innocent until proven guilty. And I have discovered that that is no longer true. And I find it very alarming. So I'm not only concerned about my own son, and of course I am. Any mother who loves her child, it's impossible for me to stop fighting for him. He's such a good person, has so much to give, and it's such a waste. But it's not only a waste for him. He's in prison with so many nonviolent offenders, many of them drug offenders or people who made mistakes, many of them young, like Ross was. He was in his mid-20s, and who are now wasting away in a situation that does no one any good and destroys families. Our own family has been through tremendous suffering, but I'm also go to the prison and see Ross regularly, and there are many families. I've gotten to know them. We help each other. I see children clinging to their fathers, crying. I had a mother say, you know, before this, my kids got straight A's, and now they're doing so poorly and things are falling apart. And she's not the only one who's told me that. Many of these families are minorities and people who are poor and uneducated, and they're doing their best to hold their families together, and their husband and or father is in prison doing no one any good. And these are nonviolent people who would not harm you if they were out doing some kind of restitution perhaps or community service, but not being warehoused where they can't be with their family. And so it's become for me a bigger issue than just personal. I feel like I'm speaking for them as well, because it's really wrong that I feel like we can do better in this country. And there's a lot of money being made by this prison system, and this justice system. There's a lot of corruption, and it's not American. It's un-American. The United States leads the world in incarceration of its citizens. That's not right. The other thing it's important to realize that it can affect any of us. Cases like the Silk Road case create precedent. These big cases create precedent that filter down into other courts and other decisions. There's the question of what's going to be our Fourth Amendment protections in the digital age. What about due process rights and fair trials? Because if we don't have fair trials in this country, we're not a free country. Fair trials are a pillar of our liberty. So if you want to help protect your constitutional rights and protections, this is one case where you can push back and help us push back, help our family, and through us, help protect your own rights in this situation, because we're losing them very quickly. I've seen that firsthand, and I urge you to be aware of it and help us if you can. Go to freeross.org. Thank you.
If this story struck a chord with you and you're pretty much as outraged as I am, please stop by freeross.org, find out the latest in the case, and help out. Go buy some swag or donate some money. Thanks. Don't forget, if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. Also, give this a thumbs up, a like, a share, or if you have something to add, remember to comment below. Thanks. Also, don't forget to stop by TarrinLupo.com. I have up videos that you can't see anywhere else. Currently, I have one on carnivorous plants and also how to make your own mead. All you have to do is go over and sign up at TarrinLupo.com, and all that's free.